have is it's not a gift, man. It's a trust. It's a community ideal. To be able to put people in a room, it's talking about some of the most difficult of things, painful, hurtful things, but yet congeal an environment whereby people can see their own humanity, show compassion, and show mercy. Civil liberties attorney Clarence Zarrow also said when it came to humor, if you lose the power to laugh, you lose the power to think. With that, I present the End of Racism Comedy Lecture Tour Virtual Edition.
I think racism is the reason why you never ever see any black people in tanning commercials. You're laughing, but if you went to the local pharmacy, you saw a cardboard cutout of me with some suntan lotion, you'd be confused. It's a killer. They don't tell you this. It affects everybody. Guess what? Racism affects white people too. But they don't tell you. That's why I'm here. Work with me here. Black people got Black History Month. I'm Muslims have Ramadan. Latinos have Latino Month. Asians have. What do my white brothers and sisters have? Nothing. You don't have a Caucasian Awareness Month or Black Appreciation Day or a White Day or a Hostile or something like Richard Month or Hopefully you come a pale pause. Nothing. Put out your right hand. Extend 5 fingers. I call this the fives. It's about thinking about language. Freedom. I believe there's always 5 letters that let us know just how close we are. 5 letters. Think outside the box. Here we go. You can count on 5 letters. I believe we all exist. EXIST. Here on Earth, 5 letters by virtue of the fact we're all human nature remain. Therefore, it doesn't matter whether you're 5 letters, white 5 letters, Asian 5 letters, or the C. Much like the O to A is still ain't true. I'm Muslim, you know, I follow Islam, that's 5 letters. If you follow Jesus, if you're Jewish, you get the Torah, 5 letters too. The point of this is, as good as it sounds, there's always going to be hate. And it's 5 letters too. Because our power line, our unity, UNITY. And the hater, you know how a hater is. Most of them are angry, some of them are upset, some of them pissed off right now. They can't SPELL, and it's okay. Tell the hater, listen, man, if you can't spell it out, do the math. If you take 3 things away from the 5, it gives you peace. And that peace is spelled PEACE.
I proudly present the End of Racism Comedy Lecture Tour Virtual Edition, coming to a college near you. Hey everybody, Assalamu alaikum. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the notify button so you know when you're getting new episodes. And we just want to grow this project. I thank you in advance. Without further ado, let's get rolling. The ShOUT Show. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. Happy Sunday. Greetings. I hope your weekend went well. My name is Preacher Moss. I'm the host of the SOS, the ShOUT Show. If this is your first time coming to the show, let me thank you. I appreciate you spending a little time with us. Basic rules. The basic rules are just courtesy. First of all, I want to again welcome you for coming to the show. Number 1. Number 2, if you have some comments or ideas you want to share, our comment section is open for you, and we're going to give you a shout out when you come into the comment section, whether you like it or not. Number 2 is you're part of the official ShOUT Show family. A group of dedicated people who come here on the show. They share their ideas, they share their thoughts. And basically, it's a community. A lot of people have a platform. I have a community. My community comes on this platform and they share goodwill, great ideas. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't agree, but it's all in the wellspring of good ideas and being able to share content, being able to share ideas and philosophies. That's number one. So number two is I have to shout out my shout out show family. You know, it's really humbling to have people come on the show, and it's not just come on one show. This is episode I think 206, I believe. I may be incorrect, but 206 shows, and to be able to have people like come, dedicated, is really it's a baraka. It's a baraka from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, and I feel like it's a trust. So for the people that come on the show, I want you to understand that this is a bit of a trust, a bit of a community. Uh, they trust you, trust me, I trust you, and we come up with these ideas. So today's banner talk, if you will, let me put our banner out. Of course, it's Sunday, so Sunday potluck would preach. A couple times this week, I did go off the rails, humor wise. I just had to get it out. I remember the first show. Sometimes I just want to laugh. I like that one, and of course, Sun's Friday Funnies was a classic. We had an award show. The best one that people liked was, of course, the best two. The Herman Cain, the Herman Cain Award for Mass Deniers goes to Ben Carson, Dr. Ben Carson, and the other one was the Rudy Giuliani Dental Scholarship Award, which goes out to white men over the age of 60 that still have their baby teeth. Excellent award, excellent award. But we had something happen in DC, the nation's capital. And, I was going through my Instagram stuff. Every once in a while, people send stuff, and I save it because it's just really profound thought. And I thought about something for Sunday potluck. Uh, the first idea was the concept of a fool. Because that's what I thought about when you had all these Trump people come and all the folks that deny and things like that. It's a concept of a fool. And I started pulling back on all the lessons I heard from my elders, my mom, my dad, my aunts, my uncles, older cousins, grandparents. And I came up with this philosophy. And that philosophy is that you don't get to being a fool quickly. You don't get to being a fool quickly. You get to being a fool deliberately, but you don't get to being a fool quickly because there's always points and opportunities where you can pivot from being a fool and educate yourself and not just educate yourself, but enlighten yourself and enlighten others. The mark of an enlightened person is they're able to teach to the fool and the enlightened. So hold that idea that number one, you don't get to be a fool quickly, and number two, you get to being a fool deliberately. And what I've begun to really, really delve into, maybe it's affected how I do comedy. I'm not sure. Let me get some shout outs here. Sister Sultana, how you doing, Sister Sultana? God bless. Our consultant producer that makes this thing go. Brother Altaf, all the way from Toronto. You know what I'm talking about, Brother Altaf. You don't get to be a fool quickly. You get to be in a fool deliberately. That's when you block things out. And my beloved brother Johnny L. Thomas out of Milwaukee. I hope JT you're doing all right, man. I hope you survived those 7-year-old little girls having a birthday party. We made the walk for you all day long, brother. You are a better man than me. So this concept of being a fool has been something that's been bothering me maybe since the first election, since Trump got elected. Because the deliberate act of people to willingly overlook facts, to overlook truth, to overlook fairness, because we overlook facts and truth, you're going to overlook everything else. Okay, that's what that has to be said. If you overlook fairness, you're going to overlook prejudice. You know what I'm saying? If you overlook greed, you're going to overlook poverty. Okay, if you overlook freedom, you're going to overlook slavery. That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. And as people came in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, to protest, the groundswell, brothers and sisters, the thing that's worrisome is you have people who are deliberately tied and almost religiously tied into being fools. They don't fit in any other aspect of society. Forget the United States. In any other aspect of society that has logic, that has reason, they don't fit. And the killer part is there's a design to it. We shout out Sister Aika from Indonesia. Assalamu alaikum, sister. Thank you for coming. But it is this pervasiveness, and it worries me because one of the signs of a complete fool, and I say a complete fool, is the nature of the fool is to quit. The nature of the fool is to quit. And the only time the nature of that fool to quit doesn't bother anybody else is when they're around other fools who've already quit. Thus, the reasonable person, the logical person, becomes the target, if you will. They become the focus of ire and anger and hatred because they have hope. They have reason. They have truth. Every Muslim on the show, every Christian on the show knows that the target against religion is not from religious people. It's from religious people who stop believing. It's from religious people who now feel like I can be a fool. It's from religious people who say, I'm a fool. I need you to believe these foolish things. And that's where you get a lot of this stuff. There was a great thing, and I'll go back to this thing I saw on my Instagram early today. I loved it because it sums up a lot of what we're going through today. And it's funny, actually. I laughed at it. But I don't have it in front of me. But just imagine this learned scholar, this student of knowledge, religious knowledge, is sitting there, and a wealthy man comes up to him. He goes, "May I talk to you?" And he says, "Of course. How can I help you?" He says, "Well, Sheikh, I have all these riches. I have all this property." And he goes, "What's the problem?" He goes, "I have all these people that are envious of me." He says, I want to pray where they're not envious of everything I had." And the scholar goes, "I can help you." He said, "God Allah, please, please take away all of this man's riches, his wealth, his comforts, so that people will not envy him anymore." And of course, the man was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa. That wasn't what I'm talking about. That wasn't what I'm talking about. And that's not what I'm talking about." He said, "Well, and the scholar said, the reason I did that is because that's not what you wanted." He said, "That's not what you wanted." He said, "The lesson that I'm giving you, and the lesson all of us should learn, or remember, not learn, but remember, is the fact that whenever you have a blessing, you're going to have people who are envious. Whenever you have a blessing, you're going to have people who are envious. That's from now to the end of time. What is the preoccupation of the slave that becomes free? Because the man who's free, who held on to that slavery, envies that person because despite that oppression, despite all of the disadvantages, that person still has freedom that does not come from them. That's freedom to think, freedom to act, freedom to be creative. And throughout history, with African American, Native American, that freedom, whether it's religious, whether it's spiritual, whether it's just creative freedom, has confounded people for years. White supremacy hates that feeling. White supremacy is built on envy. Envy. The laws that you see are built on envy, built on the fact that I have to take from you what it is that is natural just for us, brothers and sisters, wait for it, to be equal. I have to take the vote away from you. I have to redline your dish. I have to give you poor schooling just so I can feel superior. But in reality, you're not even equal. And so they had a protest that came through here. And it reminded me of some things. And y'all can jump in on this. You know, one of the things that's happened over the last 4 years in this administration, and I wouldn't blame this administration. Okay, I wouldn't blame this administration. This has been long in the process. You know, this doesn't happen with Trump. Trump rode a wave in. There was something that was happening before then, and people don't remember the Tea Party and how the Tea Party acted. They don't remember the moral right. We don't even talk about the moral right. They're the moral invisible right now. In this scenario, people have been trying to reintroduce these themes, if you will, these themes of how I can take away from the poor, the themes of how I can take away from voters, the themes of how I can take away wealth, the themes of how I can take away uh, equality, the themes of how we can take away freedom. It's been in the work a long time. And it's not that we're naive to believe that these things are out there. What we're naive to believe is that people still, in this point in time, still want to take them away and still will work harder than you. They'll work harder than you to take it away than you will to hold on to it, because we're in this scenario, brothers and sisters, where we think the law is going to protect us. There was an old there's a book, if you ever read, I don't even know if they have it. My mom still has them in the basement. It's the Encyclopedia of Black History. The Encyclopedia of Black History. And what was interesting when you read through it, I mean, this is the greatest gift my parents ever got me. He got it from my Uncle Reggie. I don't know who he stole it from. I'm kidding. I know who he stole it from. But it gave a perspective, brothers and sisters. It gave a perspective that lets you know that the slaves that you thought were dumb, uneducated, uh, welcoming of servitude, it doesn't tell you that they were smart. And just like today, strong contributors to society. Let me say it again, strong contributors to society going back to slavery. And so when slaves were freed, it's not that, oh my gosh, the slave is going free. It was the fact that you had all this knowledge, technology, education, wisdom, religious awareness that was now uncumbered, and it was working to their benefit. When this is a good Sunday for me. This is a good Sunday for me. I hope everybody had a good Sunday. I'm gonna tell y'all why. And it goes to my mom. I give my mom a little credit here. I think she's watching. I don't know, but my mom made. It was a little too late for breakfast because I didn't think we were gonna make anything. But she made dinner. Let's call it dinner. As I watched her make dinner, I began to recount what Sundays used to be. Like we talk about Sunday potluck. If it was really Sunday potluck, there'd be something on that stove right now. And when I say something on the stove, nothing quick. We ain't talking about hot dogs and winky buns and steakums. Remember steakums? Remember you used to make steakums? So Tony, you probably still got a box full of steakums in your refrigerator. But we're talking about the process of pulling out food. And you know how Sunny dinners are. Pulling out food, establishing food. We're running up on Thanksgiving here. Everybody knows Thanksgiving. Why do we like Thanksgiving? Because nothing is prepared quickly. My brother JT will tell you the times we came over his mama's house for Thanksgiving. They did not start cooking at 6 o'clock the day of. It started the night before. And I think this, here we go. It is a special tradition, particularly among people of color, because it represents the patience, if you will, the patience that we have to wait to eat the food. In some regards, in a microfilm, it frames and mirrors the patience that you have to grow the food. Dig that. Dig that. To grow the food, to grow the corn, to grow the corn, to grow the greens, to grow the eggs, to grow the turkey. All those things, it takes time. And it reminds us of a process. Have you ever rode down your main street in your city? You notice how many fast food restaurants are there? You know how many fast food restaurants are there? It's interesting. If you try and go to a fast food restaurant right now, they won't seat you. They're closed up. You're not gonna eat in. You're really not gonna eat in McDonald's or Wendy's. There's a couple spots around where I live. They just tape the whole door off. You got to go through the drive-through, and it feels impersonal because you don't talk to the people at the counter. I'd like a number six, and no, you're talking to a intercom. I want a number six. Almost like ordering your food at a project housing. Hey, I want another, and tell Mookie to come down. Um, but we miss it. We miss it. Just the same as it doesn't happen quickly for a person to become a fool. It doesn't happen quickly for a wise person to become wiser. We sit and we mourn the loss of elders a lot. And I'm a big hate to lose my elders guy because you can't find that wisdom and replace it. It's not yours to have. If you're lucky to glean a little bit of it, you're a blessed individual. However, when it's gone, it has parameters. And I think the parameters that you deal with are the fact that how much attention did you pay to that person while they were here? Did you listen to what they were really saying? I heard an old man talk about an ice cream truck about 4 years ago. And I didn't know what the heck he was talking about. And he was complaining about the song. Oh, he said that ain't the original. This is the real song. And I went and looked it up. And the lyrics towards African Americans were horrible. Horrible. Just like, the Star Spangled Banner and things like that. You know, and I'm only bringing it up because we're in a situation scenario. And I said this before, the long game is for a lot of what we are and who we are, people are running out the clock. They are running out the clock. They're hoping that the generation behind us is a lot more gullible than who we are. They're hoping that the situation, our children, our nieces, our nephews, who are, you know, 40 years younger than us or 50 years younger than us, they don't get the essence of what we're going through right now. There's a quiet, I want to say, movement going on. And I'm going to say this here. Some of you know, but the idea of what you see now, the Trumpers or Trump supporters, and this blind obeisance to not listen to the truth, but not listen to the truth, to deny the truth. So if to them 1 plus 1 equals 7, because they said it, 2 plus 2 equals 8, and 0 plus 0 equals 11. That is the philosophy that you're going around with. But the push is, and hey, my man Andy is on here. What's going on, brother Andy? All right, man. It's good to see you. And I'm about to get this too. Thank you so much for chiming in with this. Andy Kukulowski, my main man. His mother was a absolute angel back in Milwaukee back in the day. I had a lot of good talks with Miss K. She made me feel good about humanity, Miss Joey. But the thing that we're talking about right now, and why I'm taking it really slow talking about the Sunday potluck, is because I'm imagining that Sunday is family time. I'm imagining that while we have this conversation, there's food on that grill, there's food on that stovetop or in that oven, and we've been waiting for that food to cook for an hour, 2 hours. You know, there's nothing greater than coming into your kitchen, smelling food, and see that all of the stuff used to prepare the food has been cleaned up. The sink is empty. The prep stuff is put away. All we're looking at is looking for or need right now just plates, forks, knives, spoons, and something to drink and place settings. We're in a place now where people have taken away the place settings. They don't want to give you real food. They don't want to give you real food. What they want to give you is an available fool. And like we said, the thing about being a fool is you don't get to become a fool quickly. You become a fool deliberately. And the delivery that we've been coming with for the last couple of months, it's come to a head because now people are looking to break your spirit. People are looking to establish a dilemma that looks like a problem. Let me say that again. People are looking to establish a dilemma that looks like a problem. And when I watched the people come into DC for the Million MAGA March, which was a bite and, of course, a direct shot at the Million Man March, the Million MAGA March, of which JT and I took part of, the Million Man March, we took part of that. And that march was about accountability, redemption. We were called to redeem for our sins and our shortcomings to our communities, to our women, to our children. And what was this march? It looked like, sadly, the kind of cackling and sophomorish behavior of when they used to hang people. You remember when people used to get hung? It wasn't that the person got hung. People knew when it was going. It was like, it was going to be like a new Netflix special. We fitting to hang this Negro on at 6, and they would cook. This is the depravity of it. They would cook meals and bring meals to a hanging, and they would bring their kids to a hanging. And in young minds, they presented the fact that this dilemma was somehow a solution. Let me give a shout out to my auntie Maxine. Thank you so much, Aunt Maxine. Let me that's right, JT, Million Man March was on his birthday, and we were there, brother. We were there. Shout out for my Aunt Maxine, who's a sponsor on the show. If you need some insurance, Prime America financial advice, she is the one to break it down for you in layman terms, but also in financial terms, and also in common sense. She's a sponsor of the show, has been for over 150 some episodes. Thank you, Aunt Maxine, for coming on the show. But let me get back to my point. That you would take that vile act and present it as a solution. So coming into Washington, D.C. was representative of the time when the Klan came into Washington, D.C., 100,000 strong, to flex, to intimidate, to oppress, to put in people's minds that this is what you have to deal with unless you bow down to what we believe. Now, there's a whole story about how the Klan broke down, and I won't do that because they might be watching, and I don't want to give away any secrets that I'll be using against you later. But my gift to you and to myself is that we have reminders. We have a call to action. That call to action, remember, it's true. It's true. Don't look for people to give you your truth. Like I mentioned about that scholar. When a rich man came to the scholar and he said, I have a problem. He says, what's your problem? And the scholar said, well, I have all this money and land and wealth. He said, what's your problem? He goes, people are envious of me. I don't want people to be envious of me. And the scholar, without a blink, said, let me make a dua prayer. He said, oh Allah, take away his wealth, take away his property, take away his health, so that people will not be envious of him. And where that rich man go? Oh, that ain't what I'm talking about. Don't send that one to God. Don't send it to God. I laugh, but isn't that what we're dealing with right now? You have people who march on cities, hoping, in some regards, to intimidate folk. But how are you going to be an intimidator and a victim at the same time? How are you an intimidator and a victim at the same time? All you Karens out there, how can you aggressively go after people and then claim being a victim, just thinking that white privilege is going to make it all right. So as I wrap up here, my point, and I have a lot of points. My point is, don't be like the rich man asking BS questions, proposing BS proclamations, and being disingenuous. Because the last part of that story is, what did the scholar tell him? He said, if you're blessed, you're always going to be envied. If you're blessed, you're always going to be envied. Therein always lies the bad feeling and ill will towards African and the poor and LGBTQ and Native American. Anybody that's oppressed, you're always going to have a group of people who are willing to oppress you because they know that's the only way they could just be barely equal. Barely equal. The scenario is, I ran a quarter-mile race. If the law says that the person I'm running next to can start out half a quarter, chances are I'm not going to catch him. But in the results, they're going to say that I lost the race. So let me pull up this last little bit of information. I'll leave you alone because I want you to, if you haven't got any food, go make some food. It's not too late. Put something on that's going to take you an hour and a half to eat it, to prepare it, to cook it, to eat it. Because we have to get back to this kind of Sunday potluck. See, the reason why the food took so long is because it allowed for the conversation to ferment, the discussion to be full and robust. Stop looking at fools, brothers and sisters, because they're not fools quickly, they're fools deliberately. I said, Mom, put it out. There you go. There you go. Thank you, Mom, son. And for the fact of the matter is, I probably could go a little bit longer. But you know what I'm going to do, brothers and sisters? Yep, you guessed it. I'm finna go eat. That's a shout out show. You guys have been amazing. God bless. Have an amazing week. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuh. I'm Preacher Moss. Take care. Stay blessed.
Hey everybody, this is your brother Preacher Moss. Listen, I hope that you enjoyed your shout out show experience. We'll be back with the next show, the next shout out show. A simple ask before you go, please help your brother out. Click that subscribe button, click that notify button, and I'll see you again on this side of the microphone. You probably wonder what that smell is. That's me. I smell good. And the reason I smell good is because I use oil from Tarifa Tar. So I'm not saying you can't smell good. I'm not even saying you stink. I'm saying you have the opportunity to smell exquisite. Check out tarifatar.com for some of the best oils and scents in town.